I don't mean to alarm you, but I've got some breaking news. Aston Villa are a really, really good side. I was going to make this video last night, but then I thought I went out for a few drinks and I woke up this morning and I wasn't feeling great. But then I thought Aston Villa fans have showed me a lot of love over this past season. Well, since I started YouTube, which was halfway through the season. So I just want to show my appreciation, and the least I can do is make a video. So I hope you enjoy it. But again, I want to say Aston Villa are a very, very, very good side, and I really don't think they're getting the credit they deserve. 18 league games unbeaten. Now that I think they're unbeaten, they've only been beaten once at Villa Park this season. Villa Park is actually a fortress. One loss in the Premier League all season, 18 consecutive games unbeaten, and that's without even including the European games. You beat PSG at Villa Park, you beat Bayern Munich at Villa Park. It's a scary place to go. Do you know why? Because Aston Villa are a very good football team. They've got excellent players, they've got squad depth. They're really building something special at Villa Park, and I've been saying it time and time again this season. A lot of the other clubs' fans and the media are sleeping on Aston Villa, and they've just put in another huge performance, another huge win in the race for the Champions League football. It was a high-pressured game, and I was immensely impressed with the application, the professionalism, and the setup from Aston Villa. I thought they were brave on and off the ball, and they dominated Tottenham from start to finish. And what I loved about this game from Aston Villa, there was some individual quality, but they played so well as a unit. I love it how they squeezed up the pitch, condensed the space, not allowing Tottenham any space or time on the ball. They were aggressive in duels, they were pressing well, they were pressing as a team rather than individuals. It was just a really, really impressive, mature performance from Aston Villa. And I've said this before, you're building something special, but the difference I've seen is in high pressured games, Aston Villa have now got that competitive mentality to say, we're going to win this game. Even when you went to the Etihad, you were in the game. A lot of other 5 seasons ago, you probably expect a 3-0 win, but you go to the Etihad, you go to Chelsea, and you have hope, you have a chance of winning the game. So what I'm trying to say is, and this is similar with Newcastle United, maybe 8 years ago, we used to go into these games thinking we can beat them on endeavour alone. We don't have the tactical and the technical players to compete, but now you do. And that's exactly why you've went deep in the Champions League, you've went deep in the FA Cup, and you've taken Champions League qualification to the last game of the season. And you should be immensely proud of your team. This was a season done by Newcastle United. If you were to give Newcastle every single result Aston Villa have had this season, I would be immensely proud. So you should be. And I think other teams, pundits, football fans in general are sleeping on Aston Villa because they've built a formidable side. And I just thought it was collectively an impressive performance, but there was some individual performances I want to talk about. And I want to talk about Ezri Konsa because for me personally, every time I watch this guy, he's super consistent. He's aggressive in duels and he just needs more respect from the media, other fan bases, and he's been one of the best defenders in the Premier League this season. I don't care what anyone says to us, whether he's filling in a right back or in his natural position at centre back, he's been absolutely electric for Aston Villa defensively, and I just think he deserves a lot of credit. He's an excellent duel winner, he's comfortable with the ball at his feet, he's strong aerially and reads the game well. And the biggest difference I've seen from Konsa this season, he's matured mentally. He doesn't dive into needless tackles when he doesn't need to. He stands his ground. He understands the game a lot better. It looks like Emery has really coached him into becoming a better all-round defender, becoming better aware of the situation at hand in that moment. And I think he deserved that goal. He deserved that moment to put Aston Villa 1-0 ahead because the authority he would have had, the energy he would have felt off the crowd, it was just a special goal for a special player this season because I really do think he's been super consistent for you. And I want to talk about Amadou Onana because, wow, his profile. He's got, if you were to build a midfielder, it would be Onana. Big, strong, quick, athletic, decent technically, understands the game. He's a dual winner. He can really become a monster under Unai Emery. And I think with consistent minutes and starts, you can really mold him into a complete midfielder. And what I love about his presence on the pitch, it allows Villa to commit bodies forward, it allows him to attack with pace, knowing that he's got that defensive solidity just to stop any transitions in case the ball's overturned overturned. So his presence alone allows Aston Villa to take up more dangerous positions in the attacking third. It allows him to create overloads out wide. It allows him just to express himself in the attacking third a lot more. And then I want to move on to Ian Maatsen, because I thought it's another impressive performance about him. What I think is really underrated about Ian Maatsen is how much he understands the game. He understands when to create overloads out wide. He understands when to occupy central areas, and he's actually really impressive at occupying central areas because he's hardworking and he's technically very, very good. And then I thought Marco Asensio had a good game as well, and I just love watching this guy. The elegance, the technical level, the awareness, the football IQ, his ability to find pockets of space, his awareness on the ball, it's just a thing of beauty. I could watch him play football all day. His ability just to receive the ball, and it looks like time stops around him. Everything slows down, and it's just him just working his magic. His ability to feed players. What I really like about him is his movement off the ball. So intelligent. What a wonderful footballer. And I probably could have highlighted every player for Aston Villa yesterday. I thought Morgan Rogers drifted in and out of the game, but he did his bit. I thought Ollie Watkins ran the line well. I thought Matty Cash defended well. He played well. Pau Torres playing through the lines extremely well. Kamara was comfortable in the central areas. I thought it was a really impressive performance from Aston Villa in a high-pressured game, because there was a lot of expectation on these players to go out and just dominate Spurs. Everybody was expecting Aston Villa to win. And that's a tough thing to mentally cope with, because sometimes you can't get complacent. But I didn't see any complacency from Aston Villa yesterday. We're going to look at some of the goals and break down some things I want to highlight in the game. And I thought this was the first minute in the game, and this is what I loved about yesterday. Aston Villa squeezing the pitch. You can see them going to a man-to-man press, and every time Tottenham tried to play out, this happened, just snatching at the feet on the first touch. And I love aggressive, intense games like that. And that was the first minute, so it just set the tone of the game for Aston Villa, that they were really going to get into Tottenham's faces, and they've done this consistently throughout the 90 minutes. But this is another piece of what I loved about the shape of Aston Villa. Look at who's standing on the edge of the final third. It's Konsa. Look at how much Aston Villa are squeezing Tottenham into their own half, pretty much making them defend in a deep block. Now look at the bodies Aston Villa are committing forward. They've got 5 players ahead of the ball, and the ball's in the final third. The ball's nearly on the 18-yard box, and they've still got 5 players ahead of it. They were brave off the ball, they had quality on the ball, and it was just, again, a really impressive performance from Aston Villa. But I love this shape. Just that one image alone just highlights everything Aston Villa wanted to do yesterday. They wanted to get bodies in the box, they wanted to score goals, and they wanted to squeeze Tottenham to not allow Tottenham to get in any rhythm or anything like this. It was kind of like what I wanted to see Aston Villa do against PSG away from home. And I know that's easier said than done, but they did this sort of thing at home against PSG and got the victory and almost went through in the Champions League. And this is everything brilliant about Aston Villa, because Aston Villa have now built a squad where they can be physical if you want to be physical, but they can also be technical if you want to try and be technical. If the opposition want to make it a technical game, Aston Villa have got the players to be competitive. If they want to make it a physical game, Aston Villa have got the players to deal with any physicality that the opposition's trying to throw at them. But this was the opening goal, and it was a set piece, and everybody loves a goal from set piece because you should make the most of set pieces. And what I love about Ollie Watkins here, just put it back in the danger area. I don't think he tries to score. He just puts it back into the dangerous area, put it in that 6-yard box, and anything can happen. It can fall to a feet of an Aston Villa player. It can get a deflection. We can win the second ball. Just anything can happen. And guess what? Konsa was in the right place at the right time and just guided it under the legs of Pape Matar Sarr, I think it was, and into the bottom corner. A lovely guided finish from Konsa. And it's actually a difficult technique to do, and he did it to perfection. Aston Villa went 1-0 up. This just eased the nerves, and then Aston Villa just dominated the game from there. Spurs weren't really threatening. They had that one moment where Emi Martinez pulled off a brilliant save, and I think it was Matthias Tell that kind of backheeled it sort of thing. Apart from that, Spurs weren't in the game at all. Now, if I move it on slightly, this doesn't result in a goal, but I think this set the signs that what Aston Villa could do to break down Tottenham. There's a few things I want to highlight in this image. First of all, Onana just sitting screened in front of that back line with his presence on the pitch, because he can get around the pitch. He's got those long strides that allows him to eat up the grass. He's got the physicality. If it is a duel, he wins the second balls for you a lot. That allows Kamara to get forward, Rodgers to get forward, allows Ian Matson to join in the attacks, and then you've got Ollie Watkins and Asensio. That is devastating for the opponents. They cannot cope with that amount of bodies, that amount of intelligence and technical quality in the final third. So this is what Onana brings to you, because when you play Tielemans and Kamara in the middle, I like Kamara in the middle because he gets on the ball, he makes things happen, and that allows Tielemans to get forward. When you've got Onana, it allows them both to get forward, and it's extremely dangerous because Onana can provide that defensive solidity. What I love here is the overloads Aston Villa are creating, whether that be on the right-hand side or the left-hand side, they're always creating those overloads. You can see you've got, I think it's Morgan Rodgers and Ian Matson just on that left-hand side, 2v1. So if Aston Villa did switch the play, they've got a 2v1 situation. And this is the great thing about Aston Villa. And then if we move the frame on, Kamara picks up the ball in the middle. Now, what he could do is play it along to, I think it's Morgan Rodgers that he plays a 1-2 with, but he doesn't. He takes a touch, comes inside, and that allows him to open it up, and then he finds Ollie Watkins in the box. But again, Aston Villa have created a 2-1 in the central areas now, so they're always creating those 2v1s, and it's extremely difficult to defend against. Now, nothing come of this. Ollie Watkins had a 1-on-1. It was a good save from the goalkeeper, but these with the signs that Aston Villa could break down Tottenham in those wider areas by creating 2v1s. And that's exactly where Kamara's goal come from. Matty Cash plays it out wide. And as you can see, because the left back needs to go and press, that opens up the space for Kamara to get on the ball. But I want to highlight Asensio here because he's just found a pocket of space here. He's just finding a bit of space, being a bit of nuisance, making sure he's getting marked, drawing attention towards him and allowing others to express themselves. Really clever from Asensio, his positioning here. But again, if we move on the screen, Asensio, he's at the edge of the box, looks like he wants the ball, but he doesn't want the ball there because the ball goes back to Kamara. And then he drives into the penalty area. And the reason he drives into the penalty area is to open up the space for Kamara. Kamara comes onto his left foot and then pings it in the bottom corner. Wonderful finish from Kamara. Take nothing away from that. But that doesn't happen without Marco Asensio making that run. What do I always say? I've said it so many times in these videos. Movement kills in football. Movement kills in football because it completely off-balances the opposition shape. Now, Asensio, what other midfielders would do here is allow Kamara to receive the ball. Then he probably just takes a few steps backwards or towards the left-hand side to become an option. Asensio is a bit more clever than that. He knows if he drives in that penalty area, one, he's going to be dangerous because if Kamara decides to play the ball to him, he can just pull it back across the goal. Two, he's going to be pulling away some opponents, which opens up the space for Kamara. And that is exactly what happens because Kamara has the technical ability to open up his body, get a yard of space, find the bottom corner, and it's comfortable. Good night, Tottenham. Thanks for coming. Thanks for playing, but you've just been absolutely outclassed by Aston Villa. And I just thought Aston Villa were absolutely sensational from start to finish. They moved the ball quickly. They were opening up Tottenham. What I really liked about them as well, they were patient on the ball. Really, really patient. It was just a mature performance. If I could handpick a performance, it would be something like that. Something where you're not putting yourself in too much danger. You're comfortable. And with Onana, I've said this prior, the presence of Onana, what this does, it allows you to attack with 5 and defend with 5. At times yesterday, Aston Villa were attacking with 6 and defend with 4 because Onana's presence is so good defensively. I've got my criticism of Onana, and my biggest one with Onana is he's not progressive enough on the ball. He doesn't think when he receives a ball, can I play forward? He looks for the safer option. Now, if I'm Unai Emery, every day in training, I'll be saying, every time you receive the ball, I don't care if you lose it, I want you to play forward. If you don't play forward, you've got to do 10 press-ups. That's what I will be telling them. And I don't care if you lose the ball trying to play forward, I want you to play forward. That's what I'll be doing. And I'm sure Unai Emery will be working on that because a little bit more progressive play from Onana and his passing ability will just allow Aston Villa to just really express himself in that final third. And it will be a thing of beauty for next season. But think of the season you've had. Regardless if you get Champions League or not, it's a really proud season. And guess what? Aston Villa's under-18s have just won the Premier League trophy as well, just this morning. So congratulations to them. They beat Man City again. So that's a Youth Cup they've won and the Premier League trophy. So huge congratulations to Aston Villa. It's really inspiring what Aston Villa are doing at the moment because it's not just their first team. Their academy, their development squads are being exceptional. So it's just an exceptional time to be an Aston Villa fan, and I couldn't be happier for you, to be honest. So if you've enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and until next time, up the Villa.